Hello and welcome to Mumbai Matters. I'm Mansi Fadke, Deputy Editor with The Print, and in this episode of Mumbai Matters, we are going to talk about something that we've spoken about in one of our earlier episodes too last year, but from a different aspect. This is the Dharavi redevelopment project. The Dharavi revamp project was first conceived it was first conceived 20 years ago, and it has simply not moved since then. Every time there is an election, the project picks up some pace, but it all comes undone once a new government is formed, given the complexities of the neighborhood and the project itself. This is a year of elections, and the project has once again gained some momentum. But at the same time, there is some trepidation about the project's future, considering the political discourse around it has turned it into a major controversy. And this is what I'm going to be focusing on in this episode of Mumbai Matters. The Maharashtra government is in the process of conducting a survey of the structures that stand in Dharavi, which is notoriously known as Asia's largest slum sprawl, to basically determine which of the residents are eligible for free housing as per the state government's norms for the project under the Dharavi redevelopment plan, which seeks to turn this slum sprawl into basically a cluster of glitzy high rises with well planned amenities. So far, the state government has finished surveying up to almost about 10,000 odd structures in Dharavi of the roughly 2 lakh that the government estimates the number of structures to be. It has also set an aim for itself to complete this entire process of the survey by the end of the 2024-2025 fiscal. However, while officials are working towards the ambitious target, the fate of the project once again hangs in balance given the politics around a much delayed redevelopment plan, especially with elections now just 3 months away. There is a chance, officials say, of the project going back to the drawing board depending on the outcome of the elections. Meanwhile, the survey itself has become controversial as opposition parties are alleging it to be a way of moving a large number of residents of Dharavi outside the neighborhood, which is sprawled on some real prime real estate right next to the plush business district of the Banda Kurla complex. Now, the Dharavi redevelopment plan was conceived first in 2004, with Dharavi being a complex area comprising long stretches of multi story slums, standalone buildings, commercial establishments, industries, and tanneries. The project has so far been a non starter, despite previous government having made a few attempts to tender it out. The Eknath Shinde-led Maharashtra government, comprising the Eknath Shinde-led Shiv Sena, the Bharatiya Janata Party, and the Ajit Pawar-led NCP, which are part of the Mahayuti, in July last year, awarded the bid to implement the Dharavi redevelopment project to Adani Realty, months after this conglomerate emerged as the lowest bidder for the project. The rival Uddhav Thackeray and the Congress in particular have been opposed to the bid, raising questions over certain concessions that the state government has given to the project. The Shiv Sena Uddhav Bayasaheb Thackeray, which is known as Shiv Sena UBT, and the Congress are part of the Mahavikas Aghadi, along with the NCP Sharad Chandra Pawar. Uddhav Thackeray had last month also said that if the Mahavikas Aghadi actually comes to power in Maharashtra, it will scrap the entire bid awarded to industrialist Gautam Adani's firm. The Mahavikas Aghadi's performance in the Lok Sabha election was much better than the ruling Mahayuti, stirring talks of the possibility of the MVA being able to carry the momentum forward into the assembly elections. The Mahavikas Aghadi won 30 of Maharashtra's 48 parliamentary seats, whereas the Mahayuti won just 17 seats. One seat went to an independent, which eventually extended his support to the Mahavikas Aghadi. Now, but before we get into the whole politics around the project, let's first talk about the survey that is underway as we speak in Dharavi. The state government's Dharavi Redevelopment Project Authority started surveying the population of Dharavi to determine the eligibility of the residents for free housing under the project by the end of March this year. As per the stated norms for the project, those living in hutments that existed on or before January 1, 2000 will be rehabilitated with free houses of 350 square feet within Dharavi itself. Those living in structures created between January 1, 2000 and January 1, 2011 will get houses outside Dharavi under the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana at a nominal payment of 2.5 lakh rupees. They will also be offered rental housing options. The last survey that was conducted in Dharavi was way back in 2008 when a non-governmental organization had identified 64,000 ground floor structures as eligible for free houses in Dharavi. A second official working on this project was speaking to me, and he explained the whole methodology of the survey to me. He said that they did a 3D mapping with drones of the entire area. The 2008 survey, he said, had only taken into account ground floor hutments of Dharavi. But now the current survey is basically considering all the multi-story structures that are there in Dharavi, ground plus one, plus two, plus even 3 stories at times. And the number would definitely be much different considering it has been 15 years since the last survey. The drone mapping, which was wrapped up last month, has revealed that there are about 2 lakh structures in Dharavi, roughly. The officials are first doing a lane by lane recce by foot, followed by a LIDAR survey, which is a sophisticated method of mapping using remote sensing technology. Officials then collaborate their findings from the 2 exercises, and every house is being given a unique number. 3 member survey teams are fanning out door to door across Dharavi. One person of the 3 member team handles the tablet, another does the actual measurements, and the third collects documents from the people. The official that I had spoken to you about earlier also told me that all of this data is linked to the unique number of the house. The documents are scanned at the spot. The team takes a video of the occupant of the hutment and also takes pictures of the family. Everything is uploaded on the tab. And there's also an attempt to have a dual record creation so that all records are duplicated. The official also said that by and large people have been cooperative with officials with regards to the survey, but there is a section of the population that is very negative about the project, which really doesn't have hopes of the project really taking off. Even then, he said that almost everybody is keen on having their records registered and updated with the government. Now, with the project having had many false starts, the state government tried to offer a few concessions to the project to sweeten the deal and make the project a little more palatable for developers to take the large risk. My earlier Mumbai Matters on Dharavi talks about these concessions and the objections to them that the Uddhav Thackeray-led Shiv Sena had in detail. We'll make a link of the earlier Mumbai Matters available to you. But just to quickly recap, mainly, the state government has allowed the developer to use transfer of development rights generated from the project anywhere in Mumbai, as against the earlier norms where transfer of development rights or TDR can only be used in underdeveloped areas with development potential. Now, TDR is a concept that allows developers to transfer the unused development potential of a particular plot and use it elsewhere in zones of the city that are not fully developed. One of the measures taken by the government to make the project more favorable for the developer is to also allow to use TDR without indexation. Now, generally, the value of TDR is indexed to the ready reckoner rate of the land, and the value of slum TDR is typically lower than other forms of TDR. The state's Dharavi Redevelopment Project Authority has also sought land at multiple places in Mumbai to house residents found to be ineligible from the entire survey exercise. One of the officials working on the project clarified to me that the land will be owned by the government and not the developer. And the idea is to basically accommodate the ineligible residents rather than simply throwing them out. And the Dharavi Redevelopment Project Authority is hoping to get at least 500 to 600 acres of land that it has sought in small pockets across the city, including some salt pan lands. Now, this proposal has mainly drawn flack from the Thackeray-led Shiv Sena as well as the Congress. The Uddhav Thackeray-led Shiv Sena has said that this is a ploy of the Shinde government to throw Dharavi residents out. Quoting from Thackeray's press conference in Delhi on Wednesday, Thackeray said, "I'm not against Dharavi redevelopment. All residents of Dharavi should get houses there itself. This is what we are demanding. The ploy of the Shinde government to declare Dharavi residents ineligible and make 20 Dharavis of one Dharavi across Mumbai through Adani is unacceptable. We won't let anyone destroy Mumbai. Not only has Thackeray demanded that all Dharavi residents be rehabilitated within Dharavi itself, he has also asked for the size of the tenements that are being given to the Dharavi residents to be increased to 500 square feet from the current 350 square feet. Thackeray said, the developer has been given incentives that no one else in Mumbai has got. The developer can use the TDR generated here across Mumbai. We will not let such wrong things happen in Mumbai. The project has also been given an additional 46.9 acres of railway land to be made part of the project. On a part of this land, the Dharavi Redevelopment Project Authority is supposed to build living quarters and some amenities for the railways, while the rest of the land will be used for the Dharavi Redevelopment Project. According to data from the state government, Dharavi is spread across 259 hectares, of which 173.9 hectares will be part of the redevelopment project. Of this, 147.4 hectares is estimated to be currently occupied by slums. One of the officials said that they are in the process of starting work on the living quarters and amenities for the railways and are going in for the application of an environmental clearance for the same. Congress's Varsha Gaikwad was the MLA of Dharavi and who recently won the parliamentary election from the Mumbai North Central constituency, which does not include Dharavi but is adjacent to it, has also criticized the plan to allot lands across Mumbai for the project in order to house the residents found to be ineligible in the survey. In one of her posts on social media platform X, last month, Varsha Gaikwad had said all Dharavikars, that is Dharavi residents, should be rehabilitated in Dharavi itself. All this talk of eligible and ineligible is just a ruse. We reject it. BJP Mumbai President Ashish Shelar hit back at Thackeray on Wednesday itself in his own press conference, calling him enemy number one of Mumbai. The Mumbai civic body, he said, was in Thackeray-led Shiv Sena's control for 25 years, and Uddhav Thackeray was also the chief minister for 2.5 years. How did Dharavi get created in the first place? These slum sprawls grew over 25 years simply because of vote bank politics, Ashish Shelar said. What thickens the plot slightly is the fact that the third partner in the Mahavikas Aghadi, which is the NCP Sharad Chandra Pawar, has been conspicuously silent on its stand on the Dharavi redevelopment project. Now, Sharad Pawar is known to have been a long standing acquaintance of industrialist Gautam Adani, and that bonhomie has also sometimes caused friction between the former undivided NCP and its then only ally, which was the Congress. Last week, Sharad Pawar met Chief Minister Eknath Shinde, and there was ample speculation that the meeting was probably about the Dharavi redevelopment project, although both sides preferred to stay completely silent on what went on behind closed doors. That's all for now. Thank you for watching Mumbai Matters. We will be back with another episode soon.